see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, October 10th, 2024, and welcome to episode 782 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm enjoying a Silver Bullet blend from foodforestfarms.com, where you get 10% off with discount code LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club, and just a reminder, if it wasn't for the C4 Club, there wouldn't be things such as GSD Blend, Silver Bullet Blend, Clyde, Walter, Daybreak, Cold Brew Packs. That was all created because of the C4 Club and the option to add on white label brands as a member of the club. Check it out over at foodforestfarms.com. It's a fantastic deal. The coffee is priced right. The customer service is through the roof, and I don't think you'll be disappointed if you join. Today we're going to be talking about bees, a little bit of insanity at Lowe's, maybe some Milton chat, and maybe if we got some people over in Florida that pop in, we'll be able to get a update on how things are looking and a little bit more. But first, let's check over in the live chat, see who's hanging out in the coffee crew. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone today? Whew, it was a long night for those folks in Florida. I was watching Corey actually found a couple of Tampa, I believe they were both in Tampa. I know one was for sure. But TikTokers that were, I don't think because of TikTok they were staying in Tampa, but they were staying in Tampa. So getting kind of live updates as things were rolling in. I was checking out their stuff this morning too. Good morning, John Palmer. Good morning and good day in the chat. Rewilder Life, good morning. How are you? You decided to get something done today, and is before work. Is that jump on the show and watch this morning? Jamie Off-Grid Pink, thanks for popping in. Appreciate that. Yeah. Crazy storm. Update from Pip in the Telegram group says power went out 5:30 a.m. Other than that, not much, I guess. I think he's up possibly north of North Orlando, so not horrible. I know our buddy Jim bugged out and headed to the East Coast, so he might be a little delayed. Storm might be still settling in on him. I don't know how fast that was supposed to get over the whole state. So looked pretty nasty. I think it dropped off from what it was supposed to be, and it also had a good line that it took. I'm not saying there isn't damage, there isn't significant damage, but from what I was understanding, what we were talking about a little bit yesterday, the path, if it had gone a little bit north of Tampa Bay and it had pushed all the Gulf water into the bay, it would have been really bad. And Pip and our buddy Ian from the workshop community jumped in and both kind of confirmed that. And I think it ended up tracking away from there. I think it ended up tracking so that the bay didn't fill up, the river didn't fill up, and flood the shit out of everyone. Hey, there's Pip right there. It says just north of Orlando by 20 minutes. Good bit of rain and wind. Haven't checked outside yet. Nah. No, well, if it's dry inside, that's a good thing. That's always a good thing. Martinson family, good morning. Good morning to you, motherfuckers. Rewilder Life, East nailed with big tornadoes. Yeah, I saw the tornadoes were dropping down. Jim actually posted a video in the Telegram group yesterday as he was driving around. Man, maybe I should think about seeing if a company will send me out a better goddamn web camera, and you won't have to watch it focus in and out on everything. It's probably trying to focus in on the fact that Bitcoin is down at the moment. We got a red light that's down. Jim posted a picture or a video of a tornado touching down as he was driving. driving and bugging out. It was almost like the tornado was chasing him. Good morning, Blakesley Acres. How are we doing? Are you in a bit of depression today? Hope your employees treat you well today, and they pick up the slack from you. I'm sure you're going to be depressed and working slow that your boyfriend left town, and not going to see him for a while. I can see how you get depressed. I was a little depressed on Sunday night, Monday morning. It was really hard for me to get going when there's a big lovable lug like that you enjoy spending time with so much, and then he takes off and you're not going to see him for a while. Don't. I know you have plenty of sharp objects. Don't end it all. I don't want you. I don't want you taking your own life because you can't spend it with the backwoods butcher. Pip says power went out at 5:30. I do not like night storms. I was thinking that Blakesley Acre says this. They said they're going to abuse him today. Ooh, you might like that though too. Pip's talking about not liking night storms, and I was sitting here thinking as I was watching the whole thing progress last night. I was trying to stay in the loop. I didn't really have much other going on. I mean, I was working along, but I was trying to keep an eye on where I knew our peeps were, where our community members are, because that's what we do. We want to make sure everybody's all right in the community, and just looking at updates, watching, like I said, those TikToks of the people that were there, and it just was starting to get dark, and the sky, obviously you can see a hurricane coming, and I was just like, perfect. Sun's gonna go down, this thing's gonna hit, it's gonna be absolute chaos. It's tough. We can't see shit. And then as the power goes out, that's what the girl was saying that was in Tampa. She's looking out and she's watching. She was getting videos of the transformers popping off from the wind, and the lines breaking, the transformers blowing, and she said this is as dark as she's seen it in the city. She was on the 11th floor of a apartment complex, so she could see down over a lot of the city. And she was showing it on the camera. She said, "See how it's all dark over here?" She's like, "That's usually all lit up." She's like, "All the power is out there." It was just like ping or little explosions all over the screen with those transformers blowing. Good morning, Hunter. How we doing? Swinging in on Twitch. Appreciate that. And Canadian Farmstead, good morning to you. Hope all is well. So we've heard from Pip. Jim, he's a little elderly, so he might need to sleep in after all the excitement yesterday, or they might be still getting battered. They might have lost power, and man, hopefully tornadoes stayed away from where he was. So we'll wait to hear in from Jim. So I have a few things on the list. I wasn't sure really if we're going to have a lot of news coming out of Milton. So I have a little bit here. Then we'll kind of go into talking a little bit about what happened yesterday with Milton. Couple of things in the last couple days have been a little odd in my life. Some experiences, I guess. So let's talk about yesterday at Lowe's. So I had to go down, and I made a trip to Savannah on Monday. What was yesterday? Wednesday? I made a trip on Monday. And hey, I see you over there on Noster. One viewer checking in over there. Hope you're doing well. Drop a comment if you can figure out how. I went and caught up on our grocery and laundry on Monday. Usually go on Fridays. Had to go on Monday because I was a little tied up with gully days and laundry. Tied up with gully days at SRF. Wow. It's a rough one today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is some sort of goofy coffee or something. Tied up with Gully Days and SRF. Couldn't do my normal routine, so I had to jump on Monday and go. Tuesday, got some stuff done. Wednesday, I realized I had to go back to Savannah because our long cycle then. So I went on Monday, and I'm not going to turn around and go back on Friday again. So we prepared enough to get by probably for 2 weeks. So I'll probably try to get back on that Friday schedule next week. So it's going to be almost 2 weeks. I realized that in all the chaos that I had received the new Starlink dish the Tuesday before Gully Days. I believe it was the Tuesday. And the way that works is I have 15 days to return the old one. They pay for shipping. I take the box that the new one came in. I put the old one in the box and take it and have to run around. Last time I had to ship one out, it was a fiasco. I had to go to like 3 or 4 different spots to try to get the shipping label printed out. I have a printer here, but I use it so infrequently that all the ink dried up. So when I tried to print that label out the first time, I couldn't get it to print out. So I was like, in a town the size of Savannah, it's not huge by any means. Off-Grid Pink says, is goofy coffee standard in the C4 Club? No, it's not. No. So I had to find some place to print the label out, and I have to ship it at Walgreens, is the closest FedEx drop point for me. There were a couple in Savannah. Walgreens seemed the best. I figured Walgreens could print out a PDF. I need one. It wasn't even one, but it would print out on one piece of printer paper. I figured that they could do it there. No luck. I was going to go to a couple different places. People gave me suggestions of places to go. Every place I went was either closed on lunch break. Their machines were down. I think I stopped 3 different places before I finally was like, somebody was like, well, they print stuff at the UPS store. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll go to the UPS store and print out a FedEx label. That sounds about right. And so I was there. They were like super friendly. It was like 22 cents or some shit. I was just like, this is great. I handed him my jump drive. He's like, is it the only labels on there? And I'm like, yep. Or the only PDFs on there? I said, yeah, print it out. And he did. It was really quick. And I was like, I wish I had stopped there first. But why would you think about stopping at the UPS store when you're trying to mail a FedEx, but send a FedEx package? So after that, all that fiasco, I was like, all right, well, I'll go to FedEx, and then I'll go to FedEx or UPS store right away, get my label, and then go to Walgreens. It was kind of on the way, and then I was going to stop in at Lowe's, pick up some stuff. Swing into UPS store and ask them to print it out, and they hand me the paper, and I said, well, how much do I owe you? And they're like, oh, we stopped charging for prints under 2 pages. Like, well, thank you. So guys, if I don't know if that's a local policy or if that came from above, if you need to get a page printed out, if you need to get a PDF or something printed out, head on over to the UPS store. Maybe they'll print it out for free for you. Just life hack. Save that 22 cents. Went over to Walgreens, dropped that off, got it scanned in, so I don't have to pay the ungodly like $600 or whatever it is if I don't return it. And the lady says, where am I supposed to put this? And I'm like, I don't give a shit where you put it. All I give a shit is if you scan it in and it gets on its way to California. She's like, well, my cabinet's full. This won't fit in there. I was like, this is not my problem, and I don't know why you're telling me. Figure it out. Scans it in, and I go on my way. So I'm having a pretty good day. Having a pretty decent day at this point. And I go to Lowe's. I got to pick up some wire for wiring up a project. I had to pick up some short little roofing screws with the rubber gasket to put up my gutter project, which I'm going to get to work on this week. Canadian pharmacist said, "Bend over and I'll show you." I almost said it. It almost slipped. Like when she said it, I was like, "Are you really fucking kidding me?" You're like, I don't work here. I don't know where you're supposed to put it. I don't know. That Starlink box would be a tight fit, probably. Oh. So I had to get some roofing screws with a little rubber grommet or gasket to seal that metal roof when I screw in the strapping for my gutter project, and a couple of bucket lids. A little Christmas vacation always applies. Yeah, getting about that time of year, start watching that again. And so I figure the Lowe's trip is going to be pretty quick. I figure with, walk in, all I had to get was like, the little rolls of like 10 gauge wire, 20 feet maybe. So I walk in, I find the wire. I find the wire aisle, electrical aisle. And I walk down to the end and I'm looking at the wire and it's all behind a cage. Like the whole half of the whole half of the aisle as you're walking down is behind a cage with these big, huge padlocks. And I'm like looking, morning hanging laundry. Thanks for popping in. I'm looking and, I get it. There's like $500 rolls of copper wire there. There's all sorts of stuff, but like a lot of it was smaller denominations, like $8, $10, $12, all behind locks. And I'm like, this is getting a little stupid. I understand that they're probably not going to be able to, it was just easier to lock the whole thing up, but whatever. So I'm standing there waiting for somebody to walk by, to walk down the aisle, anybody. And you got to remember, this is a Wednesday morning at Lowe's and not a whole lot of employees on staff. So I'm waiting. And as I'm standing there, I'm like, I'm going to go grab my screws. They're in the next aisle over, 2 aisles over. I'll go grab my screws and come back, and maybe in transit I'll see an employee and they can radio for someone to come and open up the wire cabinet. So I go over and grab the screws and I'm walking back to the electric aisle. Off-Grid Pig says they don't have a damn button to hit. I didn't see one. I could have missed it. It wasn't blatantly obvious for dumb shits like me if they do have one. And so on my way back, I was walking and I ran into the guy from the pro desk. So Toolman Tim has set up an account down there because that's where we get a lot of the supplies for Delinquent Scully. And there's a guy at the pro desk that interacts with him. Every time John Palmer says, you got to love Meth World. Yeah, exactly. Copper. We got to get to copper. So this dude recognizes me, always remembers Tim. Like I go up and if I'm picking up an order, if Tim orders it online and I'm picking up, he's like, I'm like, oh, here to get an order for Tim Cook. He's like, the Canadian Tool Man. Like helps me out, whatever. And he was on the fly, like he was moving. And he's like, hey, man, how's it going? I'm like, I'm all right. I was like, can you send somebody over to wire? And like, we were far enough away. I didn't expect him to turn around and go with me. And he looked like he was on a hot mission. He's like, yeah. I'll call somebody over there. And I was like, all right. So I assume this guy's going to go to the pro desk, call somebody. It's going to be a few minutes. Maybe I'll snag somebody before. And so I go stand there. Some other guy comes and stands there. And you guys ever seen Employee of the Month? The movie with Jessica Simpson and what's the guy's name? Is that Dane Cook, Corey? I don't know, Dane Cook and Dax Shepard. They like work at a Sam's Club or Walmart, Costco, I think. I don't know. It's a pretty decent movie, I think, and for watching on a Thursday night or some shit. Anyway, in there's a scene where one of the guys is not at his station and they run a news story on defective extension cord product, and like one person shows up and they show just people accumulating looking for someone to check them out. And I felt like that's what was going on in the electric aisle at Lowe's yesterday. Like I was standing there, and then some guy walks up and he goes, "Man, they're mighty proud of this wire." I'm like, excuse me? He goes, "Oh, they're awfully proud of this wire, keeping it all locked up and trying to charge that much money for it." I was just like, whoa, okay. Yep. He goes, "Are you waiting for somebody to pick it up or to open it up?" Sure am. So we're standing there kind of awkwardly, not trying to talk to each other. I'm standing there waiting, and all of a sudden I hear a Hispanic couple coming down the aisle. Hear them speaking Spanish, and I was just still browsing at all the variety of wire choices behind the cage, and all of a sudden I hear a female voice go, "Hola," and I kind of recognized the voice. I was like, I didn't know there was tone recognition in other languages. Like I could recognize her voice, and I turned around, and it was the manager from the Mexican restaurant here in town. I guess I go there enough that she recognized me in a different town just randomly in the hardware store. So that was reassuring. I said hi to her. She moved on. Some more customers showed up, and then here comes an employee. And now at this point, I've been probably standing there for a good 5 to 8 minutes somewhere, just waiting. I'm like getting irritated because I never get irritated at all. I was just getting irritated. All I wanted to do was get my wire, get in the truck. I had to go to the gully. I had some stuff to do. I wanted to get home. And I'm standing there waiting for them to unlock some wire. And so she shows up, and thankfully the other people standing there were like, "He's been here first." I don't know if they saw me pacing or sweating or whatever, getting irritated. My face might have been getting red. Steam might have been rolling out of my ears. I don't know. But they're like, "Take care of this guy first." Canadian Farmstead says, "I'm surprised people recognize me," says the 6'3", 6'5", thanks. 6'5" Sasquatch. Hagen Lottery says, "More recognizable because of your height." I'm not that tall. I'm not. The average NBA player is like, the shortest average NBA player is like taller than me, I believe. I'm not that extremely tall. There's plenty of people taller than me. And so the other customers said, "Yeah, help him." So this girl walks over to me and says, "Well, what are you looking for?" I said, "I need one of those and one of those." And I pointed to them, and they were little tiny rolls of 10 gauge wire. The rolls were $17.90 a piece, I think. I have the receipt. They were under $18 a piece. She opens the gate. She puts them in her hand, and I put my hand out to grab them from her. And she turns to me and says, "Are you checking out at Lumber?" And I'm like, "No, I got to grab some bucket lids. I was going to go to the fucking self-checkout that you make me use because you never open any fucking checkout lanes." Actually, I usually go to the pro desk. Hot tip, go to the pro desk or the customer service at Lowe's if you don't want to use the self-checkout. And the fucking self-checkout there, they have an employee standing there that walks over and helps you. Like, I don't understand why they can't just run their fucking checkout lanes. Anyway, I'm like, "No, I was going to go use the self-checkout. I have to get some stuff on the way by." She's like, "Well, I'll bring it up to guest services for you." I'm like, "Excuse me?" I said, I can't walk. I said, "I know I'm missing a fucking tooth." I didn't say this to her. I really should have. "I know I'm missing a tooth, but I don't smoke fucking meth. I'm not stealing $18. Oh, excuse me, $36 worth of copper." As I walk by tools and other things in the hundreds of dollars that are smaller and more stealable. Is stealable a word? More readily available to be stolen. She's like, I'll bring it up to guest services for you. And she starts to lock the cage with two other people standing there. And I turned and looked at her and I was like, well, I just, I shook my head and walked away, thinking to myself, it's going to be a long wait because she's going to help those other people. And as I glanced over my shoulder, she was walking behind me. And I'm like, she's literally going to walk away from those people that are waiting for her to open that for their products. Anyway, I don't know if they yelled at her or what, but I grabbed my bucket lids. I went up to customer service, and the lady's standing there, and I kind of feel sorry for the lady at the customer service desk because I got up there and I set the stuff on my stuff that was in my hands on my counter that they trusted me not to steal. Actually, the value of the things in my hands were more than the value of the things that the girl had to carry to the front for me. I set him down and she looks at me funny. She's like, are you all set to check out? I said, no, I have to fucking wait for someone to bring up 2 rolls of copper. And she kind of looks at me funny. I said, I don't know. They can't trust me not to steal something from the electrical aisle to here. So here I am having to wait again after I had to wait over 5 minutes for you to come and unlock the thing. And she's like, oh, are you having a bad customer experience, sir? And I restrained myself. I stood there and I gave her a little bit more anger over the next few minutes while I waited. She must have got called back by the people that were waiting to get the thing open, because it took another probably 5 minutes for her to show up front. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. What? Canadian Farmstead says that lady's lucky you read your Daily Stoic that day. They're lucky I just didn't set the shit down and walk out the door and go to the local hardware store. Like I was really at the point where I was like, this is too much. Nothing here makes sense. This is bizarro world. How can I pick up an $80 box of screws with no, hey, Martinson family, have a good day, bud. I can pick up an $80 box of screws off the shelf, walk up to the front of the store, pay for it myself at self-checkout, walk out the door in a matter of 3 minutes. But to get an $18 reel of copper wire, I have to wait 10 minutes for somebody to unlock a gate, have them escort me to the front to the customer service desk and check it out for me. I know how this is happening. Some guy in the bean counter aisle is over there going, oh, we're missing a lot of copper wire. We better lock it all up. Mike Homestead says, you say that like you think they care if you buy there. I know they don't. That's the thing. I know they don't. Hunter says they're locking up toothpaste at Walmart. All sorts of weird shit. That was, I think I told you guys about this. This is something I bought at Walmart the other day. I don't remember even how much it was. It wasn't very much. That was locked up. The girl had to unlock it off had that little lock on where this hole, the little peg that the hole goes on, hang. They had little locks on them. Literally next to an item on the next thing over that was 6 times the price that wasn't locked up. I'm like, and they made me check out in electronics. They did lose some revenue that day because I was going to buy a bunch of other stuff for Delinquent Scully. And when they made me check out in electronics, I was like, well, I'm not going to go walk around the store and get accused of stealing other shit. I'm leaving right out the front door. Fuck you. And by the way, when they check you out in electronics at Walmart and you have your bag, how hard is it to just walk through the store and drop shit in it? It's bizarro world, guys. It's bizarro world. And it's all numbers. It's all computer generated or actuary generated. These are our loss leaders. This little SD card reader, because that's got to be a hot item. You know, all those junkies out there looking to get the data off their SD cards. I don't know. Girl finally shows up and checks me out. She checks out, and I was over it at that point. I'm really contemplating just ordering everything on Lowe's online and getting it picked up at the Pro Desk. It seems to be the path of least friction. Hanging Laundry said, my friend is a team leader at a small town Walmart here in Wisconsin. Last year, cosmetic theft added up to 60,000. This isn't lipstick. It's an SD card reader. Hunter says, the last time I had an employee walk me to the front, I made them carry all the stuff I had in my hands to. I should have handed her all the shit. And just picked up shit along the way, like my personal shopper. That's what I'm gonna do next time. I'm gonna go find the least expensive shit in that locked cage. I mean, there was like under $10 items locked up that they were gonna walk you to the front. I'm wondering how much it costs them to have an employee do that all day long for $10 items that might get stolen. Oh, but I should just find the heaviest, most awkward shit and like load my arms up with it and go and wait for them there. And when they insist on carrying the little roll of wire or whatever I pick out of the lock thing, hand all my shit to them. And as we're walking to the front, grab all the big, awkward, heavy shit that I can find and just hand it to them. Oh, I thought you were my shopper. So that's the world we're living in, guys. Can't wait for that surveillance state to kick in and get to the point where we don't even need to check out, that we just walk through the store and whatever we take with us, it rings up as we walk out. So then we won't have to worry about locking anything up. It's almost be more convenient. Is this the thing? Are they going to make shopping that unbearable that either you do it online or you're willing to submit to the surveillance state so that you don't have to deal with all the locked up shit? I don't know. Maybe time to find another place to shop. I don't know. Like, literally, how bad is it when they need to lock up a $17 roll of fucking wire? And I'm trying to remember from my wire stealing days, from my scrapping days. How much is somebody getting out of that wire? It was too big to put in your pocket, like the roll. I don't know what they were putting it in to steal. Like, are they shoving it into their pants? Hunter says, how much of the loss leader report do you think is employees not being able to do inventory right? A lot. A lot. John Palmer says, I'd rather shop online than not deal with the people. It is nice, but a lot of times I want, there's a lot of times that I'm doing shit that is off label for the product. A lot of times I'm looking for I'm looking for a use for something or something that could be used for something else. So I need to really want to put my hands on it. And that was the other thing. I wanted to read the damn label on the roll of on the roll of wire. And so I'm sitting there like poking my fingers through the cage and like trying to spin it around and bring it closer to the cage. And I'm like reading it, and then I'd move it over because of the bars in the cage. I'm like, this is stupid. And then if I had been in a better mood and had more time, I would have just gone shopping. She'd have been like, which one do you want? I was like, I don't fucking know because I haven't been able to read all the labels. So why don't you open that shit and let me do my shopping? Chris Dixon says copper theft is no joke. I guess. How much money could you get out of a 20-foot roll of 10 gauge stranded though? Like legitimately, how much? Because it's insulated, it's got the coating on it. By the time you strip all that out, like it wasn't that heavy. Chris Dixon says a lot of stuff I shop for, I need to touch to be sure it's going to work. Therefore, sadly, I need people in stores. Exactly. That's where I'm at, especially at Lowe's. John Palmer said I saw a video of a lady stealing a whole turkey between her legs under her dress. That was the video for Jane's Addiction, Been Caught Stealing. That was a music video. No, I've seen some crazy shoplifting videos. Especially when the thieves are relatively sure that even if they're caught on video, nobody's going to do anything. Off-Grid Ping says, for future reference, I do know you can get smaller stranded copper wire at the auto parts store right on the shelf. I had to go to Lowe's for other shit though. Do they have gasketed sheet metal screws too? They might around here. People fixing up their hoopties. So yeah, that was Lowe's. It was all right. I was, by the time I got to the car, I had done my breathing exercises. I had refocused on my stoic behavior and not lost my mind. But it was pretty rough go of it while I was waiting. Definitely when they leave me alone to mill about with myself and my and the voices in my head, they don't know what they're setting themselves up for. The longer I have conversations with myself, the more angry I get. So there's that. There was that. Another thing I had on the list here was a little experience Corey and I had with one of the products I got sent out to test out and evaluate. It's actually the product that I was trying to set up when our Starlink went down. So I was very hesitant to retry to do it. We did. Basically, it's a hummingbird feeder with a motion activated camera on it. Chris Dixon says, when I'm forced to wait, I like to face shelves incorrectly, of course. That's a great idea. Other than that, maybe moving products to the wrong position, like complete rows of items, take them all the way off the shelf and put them in another spot. Or play let's drop all the plumbing fittings on the ground and put them all in the wrong bins. I mean, there's stuff like that. That's always fun. So this bird feeder that we got, I was hooking it up. You have to hook it to the Wi-Fi, and then it has an app, a wireless app. You can get video of hummingbirds. You can stop and look. You can probably guess who in the family needs this. product more than the others. And so I was setting up the camera, connect to the Wi-Fi. It's setting up, and all of a sudden it stopped setting up, and that was the exact moment the Starlink went down. So I was pretty sure, like 99.9% sure. What? Do you know how convenient that would be? I'm always sipping around. I have no idea what you're talking about. Is that one of those voice to text things? Hunter in with a cryptic message that I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. He said my translation skills. By the way, good morning, Courtney. No. Moving products to the wrong spots in the store. Gotcha. Chris Dixon says Norman likes to watch the birdies. Yeah, Norman's the one that likes to watch the birds. Anyway, I was 99.9% sure that it wasn't this camera that nuked my Starlink, but I was very hesitant after we got the new one to wait and get it connected. I have it connected at this point, and no problem. It works well. It didn't fry this Starlink. But we had hung it out without the camera. Corey got me to use my engineer brain to figure out how to hang it in front of her window on the slide where her office is, so she could watch the hummingbirds come to the feeder while she was working. We also got a suction cup bird feeder that sticks to the window. So she's posted pictures in the Telegram group at t.me/LOTSchat, t.me/LOTSchat. You can see my wife post pictures of the birds outside her window, among a bunch of other really more important things. But it's a suction cup feeder that sticks to the window. She's got cardinals that come and feed on that right at her window. And then the hummingbird feeder was there. And it was working well. We had, I know she counted at least 2, possibly more, that would come down out of the big tree next to us and feed on the feeder. But we weren't getting video of it. It would empty out every couple days. We would make up new nectar, sugar water, fill it up, and the birds would come back. Well, we filled it up the one time, and it kind of like, we felt that it emptied way faster than it should have. So I'm guessing it was leaking. So I looked at it. I'm trying to figure out how it's leaking. It was one of those ones where you flip it over and fill it, put the base on, flip it back over, and like those automatic chicken waters, by the magic of science, it doesn't all run out. But I think there might have been a it would have it was like the seals, I think, were bad, but I didn't realize that at the time. We just I figured I didn't get it twisted in all the way. Whatever. So we kept using it. Get the camera hooked up. Camera's working. We make some new sugar water. I go out and I hang it up, and we're sitting here, and it was Tuesday. Corey was still off, so she was kind of milling about. She was doing some reorganizing in her room because she got her new SOE bag while we were at SRF, and she's looking at it and she's like, "Hey, that's weird. There's a couple bees on it." So she's watching, and a couple more bees show up, and she says something to me, and she's like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on, but there's a bunch of bees on the hummingbird feeder." I was like, "Oh, maybe it spilled a little bit when we were pouring it in. Something. There's probably some sugar water there that they're feeding on." And then I look out another couple minutes, and there are a shit ton of bees on the bird feeder. Obviously, at this point, I'm figuring it's leaking, and some bee found it and called all his other bee friends, and it was turning into a swarm very, very quickly. I went outside to go check it to see if I could get close enough to take it down, and there were bees all over the camper, all over the other side, all all over the door. So the feeders on one side of the camper, the doors are on the other. I opened the door and there were bees swarming on the outside. And I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to kill them. They were obviously honeybees, and I know the fragile state of the bee world here in the United States and the world, and I didn't feel like there must have been. So when we raised bees, I had a little better estimating skill on amount of bees, but there must have been 500 to 1,000 bees, both on the thing and buzzing around and all over the camper, and they were accumulating very fast. So I didn't want to spray them. I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to kill them, but I didn't want them all over my camper, and I didn't want them in the camper, and I didn't want them stinging me, my wife, or my dogs. So I grabbed the hose, the water hose. I fought my way like a valiant firefighter fighting his way into a blazing building, sprayed down the bees, and made my way to the feeder, unhooked the feeder, dumped out the sugar water into the grass, and left the pieces to let the bees kind of clean off what they had left and then dissipate. The bees hung around quite a bit. I think they got brought to that spot, and then they didn't want to leave. But after a while, after evening came the next day, there's very few. They dissipated away from the other sides of the camper. They didn't find any good spots to kind of hang out. But I was like, well, can't really use the hummingbird feeder if it's going to turn into a bee swarm catcher. I mean, I could probably catch some swarms and offload them for a decent amount of money if we could get the whole swarm there. So I sent a message to the company, and I'm like, hey, what's the deal with your feeder? It seems to leak. And the last leak that we had caused well, that was a little weird blip. Waited for a reply. I think there might be a language barrier there. Definitely. And they basically said exactly what the instruction says. Make sure you don't fill it from the top. You turn it around, turn it over, and you fill it from the bottom, and then put the base on. And then at the very end, he's like, and be sure to check these little silicone seals. I'm like, maybe I should look at that. I don't know. I haven't got a chance to look at it yet, but I think maybe that one of the seals got bumped around or something, maybe when I was working on getting the camera hooked up or something. But the camera looks like it works pretty good. I have yet to dig the SD card out. Hopefully I put an SD card in it and I was able to get video of the whole bee experience, and it might be some fantastic video if it was rolling while I was like trying to battle my way to the feeder to get it to empty it. And I noticed that the camera is still on, so hopefully I had the recording, or it's up in the cloud somewhere. I don't know if they gave me enough cloud service to hold that much video, but we'll find out. Could be America's funniest videos, if not. Hanging Laundry said friend's daughter got documentation of husband's abuse via doggy treat camera device. He is in jail. That's good. Beating women is wrong. Beating anybody is wrong, but beating people that are smaller than you and can't defend themselves is even fucking worse. He's lucky he's in jail and not hanging out with people like me. Because he'd rather be in jail. Neighbor had a broken honey jar in his trunk, left the trunk open while doing stuff. A huge swarm of bees cleaned up the spilled honey. I thought they're bee guards for humming feeders. There might be. This is, and she said, weird Chinese brand of feeder, perhaps. It is definitely a weird Chinese or Indian or some offshore brand of feeder. Nat Geo voiceover. Yeah, I could definitely do some quality stuff if the video is right. And then my beautiful bride had a great idea. I was asking her to get pictures of the cardinals that come and visit her suction cup feeder because I have to do some video for that. And she's like, it's really hard to get pictures through the window because when they come and land on the feeder and she picks up her phone to do it, they get spooked and fly away. And then she says, well, why don't you use the camera from the hummingbird feeder and just aim it towards the other feeder, and when they fly in the motion activation, it'll get the video from the other side. And that's why I married her, because she's smarter than me. She definitely complements my train of thought. So we might try that. I'm gonna try filling that hummingbird feeder with water, see if I can get seal up, because I think it'd be really cool if I can keep it from having a huge swarm of bees, on it all the time. So that's the goal with that. Pip says generator is up, coffee in hand. We're about to have a problem. We were about to have a problem without coffee. Hey Pip, they have this thing that you can pick up that's a little white gas can. It's called Jet Boil. There's several others. I do a couple reviews of them. They make French presses and pour overs that can be used directly with it. So no electricity, no problem. We can make our coffee with fire. I thought you were a prepper. I saw your EDC. I can't believe you don't have like a jet boil and a French press in that thing. By the time you unloaded it and laid it all out, I imagine you would have everything you need there to just stay in your car, which would include some coffee makers. But anyway, I guess the generator and the coffee pot will work for now. How bad does it look outside, Pip? You looking like things are going to be down for a while, or is it just temporary power outage until they can probably get it back on today? You've been through storms. You've been through these kind of storms before. What's your professional opinion on the damage and how long it'll be before things kind of start to get back to power on and functioning? Chris Dixon says you can make a fire with cardboard boxes too, Pip. You can make a fire with a lot of things. You can make a fire with your house, Pip. Just light it up and you can make your coffee. John Palmer says bees, yellow jackets, and red wasps on my hummingbird feeders all the time. Great. So basically you're telling me that I don't really want to hang it on the side of the camper. I'm going to want to move that out into the perimeter away from where we want to be, and then I have to get a bee suit to change the solution. Pip says I'll need to make a speedball with a coffee maker. We did a walk around to the house. Not bad at all. Around the neighborhood, power maybe a day or 3. You sitting good with fuel, brother? You sitting good with fuel? Do you have the fuel? Do you have the fuel in the vehicle so when the fuel starts to run dry, you can just roll out and head back up here to Tennessee for a little bit? Tell the dealership, you know what? I didn't have enough of a vacation. We got to head back. You're welcome to come pop a squat here. Yeah, Milton. The folks that Corey sent me to watch, both of them, my beautiful wife sent me last night. She's like, "Hey, here's some folks documenting the hurricane." One of them was the one I mentioned earlier was a woman that was on the 11th floor of a apartment complex, and she was doing hourly or so updates. She felt like her apartment complex was sturdy enough hurricane resistant, and she was on the 11th floor. So, even the biblical storm surge, probably she would be okay. Okay, unless the building falls over. So I was watching her stuff last night. She was Pip says, I was pissed off after 7 minutes after getting back to the dealership, if that says anything. I was usually, after a vacation, I was usually angry on my way to work. I didn't even need to get to the door. Driving. So this girl is she's giving hourly updates, and not, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible early, but it was early. This morning I asked Corey if she saw any updates from her, and she's like, "Yeah, I just saw one. I went to her page." So she had two updates that I watched. One was from like 10 something at night, and she was concerned because her windows were taking on water on the 11th floor. I have to imagine it was because of the driving rain and the huge winds. But she had storm doors that go on the inside of her windows, and she had them all shut and sealed, and she was taking water on through all of it, and she had this really weird creaking noise going on, that she felt like the windows were going to implode. It was kind of spooky. And then her next video, she was headed out into the hallway, and they still had power. They still had interwebs. She was headed out into the hallway to blow up her air mattress to sleep in the hallway because she was afraid that her windows were going to implode. I don't know what her situation was. I didn't go back and watch the videos why she was staying where she was staying. She felt like she was safe. I guess it would be a good enough reason to stay. But she didn't look so confident at midnight. She didn't look so confident in the middle of it. I'll be curious to see any videos come out after the fact and hear her talk about her experiences there on the 11th floor. The other one that really kind of intrigued me, and I saw an update from him this morning, and he's doing fine, but this dude's name is Lieutenant Dan. Hold on, guys, 1 second. So our friend Ian is down in Tampa. He just checked in. They're safe. Lots of damage to their house and property. Looks like the road is blocked in both directions. He's heading out with a chainsaw to go help. It doesn't look, I mean, it doesn't sound like it was as bad as it could have been, but it's still really bad. The letdown, that's something that people won't, people get complacent now that, oh, it's supposed to be the worst storm ever. It's category 5, and now it's category 4, now it's category 3. We're supposed to have a 15-foot wall of water storm surge. Oh, the storm moved. It wasn't that bad. It's still bad. Hurricanes aren't good. Don't let the media sensationalize something as the storm of the millennium, and then as it dissipates and it's not as bad, it's still bad. It's still bad. I'm glad Ian's okay. I'm glad Ryan's okay. Still waiting to hear in from Jim and a couple of other people down there in Florida. So hopefully they're doing fine. Just radio silence doesn't necessarily mean anything horrible. Power could be out, or interwebs could be out. So hopefully you check in on your peeps and everybody's doing okay if they stuck around. But Lieutenant Dan over there on TikTok, John Palmer says there's one good thing about hurricanes. Do I want to know what you're going to type next? Is it that they dissipate as they get closer to land? He says the one good thing about hurricanes is he doesn't get them in Oklahoma. Just you wait. When they start really geoengineering and pushing the storms around, they're going to send one right up to Oklahoma for you. I could see a hurricane hitting Oklahoma if it came in from the east coast of Texas through the Gulf and just kept going straight. Wouldn't that hit Oklahoma? Just like it hit Tennessee? I don't think it would be 130 mile an hour wind, category 3 or whatever. It would just rain a lot. Hunter says, whoa, 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 whoa. That means me first. Sorry, guys. I'm not wishing anybody on. I'm not wishing that on anybody. Bless you, Corey. Lieutenant Dan. So Lieutenant Dan is Pip says waiting for contact from Jose Rivera from the SOE network. He's on the St. Johns River, and the river expected a 3 to 5 foot surge. That's not a good time at all. Oh my god, I forgot to start the vertical feed today. Well, that's fucking great. I was wondering why there was no traffic over there at all today. I was like, wow, that's really quiet. Probably because it's not live. Lieutenant Dan. So most people in my audience are the age that if you said Lieutenant Dan, you think one thing. I do immediately. Have a great day, Chris Dixon. I think of one thing immediately. I think everybody does. If you've seen the movie. This dude that Corey found and sent me on TikTok, he isn't quite the Lieutenant Dan that we all know and love. He only has one amputated leg, but he was on a boat and he was in Tampa and he was going to ride out the storm in his boat. And I believe he ended up doing it. Corey told me there was a message at some point that said he's abandoned ship. But I don't think he did, because they were talking to him this morning and he said he rode out the whole night in the boat. That the storm swell went up and it like actually showed a post on top of the dock that he was the seawall that he was attached to. They showed the pole and he said the water, he was above the pole. John Palmer says, I love that actor. Gary Sinise, he's a solid dude. Yeah, he is. He's a pretty solid dude. Yeah, I concur. But Lieutenant Dan, he rode out the storm in this little tiny boat, like a little tiny sailboat. And I don't know his backstory. It sounds like he might be that might be his home permanently. He might be like from what it sounded like, he might be the crazy guy down by the river, living in a boat with one leg. It sounds like nobody really pays him much attention, and the people that do are pretty much trashing on him, making fun of him. But he said this storm has really changed the reception that he gets down there. Not the radio reception, like the people suddenly wanted to help him, suddenly wanted to make sure he was okay. And he's like, I had pretty much given up on the world because I struggle on a daily basis. And he said this hurricane really kind of changed people's perspectives, and he hopes that it continues forward. But Dan did a video this morning, and he was just sitting on the wall there, had rode out the storm in his little boat, and they said, well, how are you doing? And he says, well, I'm perfect. The sun's up. I just smoked half a joint, and I'm enjoying the morning. He says, I never slept as good as I have from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. He says he rode it out. It wasn't that bad, other than a little bit of rubbing against the wall. His boat is no worse for wear. He had some help from some people that moved him to a more secure location against the wall. He pointed over to where he was before, and he said the boat would have been demolished if he had stayed there. He had some people help him out. One of them was a sailor by trade, showed him how to better attach his boat to the wall and how to rig it up so that it was safer for him. But it got me thinking, if you're in a hurricane and you're expecting a enormous storm surge, what a better place to be in a boat. The water starts going up. It starts getting pretty rough. Everything's flooding. You just cut the ropes and let her rip. You could just sail into the land, and then as the water recedes, it just drops your boat wherever it is, and you figure it out later. But at least you're not trapped in your house under 10 foot of water. You're just riding the top. Boats are meant to float. Weird. Mike Homestead says, I was with our city manager Friday for homecoming parade. Our newest fire truck went by, and he said Gary Sinise Foundation helped them buy it. Nice. Take the Ride says, or a mini sub. Yeah, I mean, a sub would be kind of cool. You get the flooding, and then you get to like navigate through like you're in Atlantis or something, underwater city, I guess. Who's the next guy buying the mini sub? Checking Bitcoin price, guys. Sorry, it's down 1.51% to 61,194 fiat dollars. When the light is red, buy more Bitcoin. When the light is green, buy more Bitcoin. Haas Rottweiler says the surge and debris would kill you. In the boat or in the sub? The surge didn't kill Lieutenant Dan. I guess. I saw him last night, and then I saw him this morning, and his boat was there both times. I assume he's in Tampa Bay. I don't know. I'm not an experienced hurricane person. I've never been through a hurricane. Take their eyes says, I'll be able to afford it when I identify as an illegal. Right. I bet all those folks in North Carolina wishes they were living in Lebanon. Who would have thought that they would ever say that? The beautiful mountains of North Carolina in a self-sufficient manner, up in the woods in the cabin, doing your own thing. Oh yeah, I'd rather live in Lebanon so I could get a little relief aid when a natural disaster strikes, or people lob missiles at us. I don't know. Jesus. Oh boy. Anyway, tomorrow's Friday. Should we do Conspiracy Friday tomorrow? I saw Pip liked a post back from September 20th, and I don't think I ever went down the road, but I think it was right before our interwebs went down again. I had just started looking into this new Devil's Tower conspiracy theory that I was all in on, and I thank Pip for heading back and liking that again, because I'll get that on the list. Maybe we'll do some conspiracy theory. Not that there's anything brewing right now. We got what do we got? The election is less than a month away. We got North Carolina. We got weather manipulation. We got Middle East. We got all sorts of fun shit. Maybe we'll go down that road and see. We'll see what happens. John Palmer says, my dad rode out a hurricane in Biloxi, Mississippi one time on a boat. Water was sucked out of the channel. Yeah, that was the weird thing, or not the weird thing, a weird thing with hurricanes and watching the north side of the hurricane as it approaches, if it's approaching west to east, the north side all sucks the water out. I remember watching, man, I can't remember all the names, but watching some social media documentation of one of the last hurricanes that came through, where the guy was showing the water receding out, being pulled out into the storm. It was a long way. It was a long way. It was pretty phenomenal. The world, the nature, the things that nature can do, the power of nature, and then possibly with a little bit of manipulation from some scientists, maybe or maybe not, astounds me. It absolutely blows my mind sometimes, the sheer power and force that are there. Take the Ride brings up a good point, and I don't know. I'm thinking about it. It says, y'all ready for these opportunity economy labor camps? Man, when the insurance money hits the ground, there's a lot of opportunity for sure. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of fraud, though. There's a lot of scams. If you are thinking about going and doing some labor work for some things that seem to be too good to be true, be sure that it's legit. But there is a huge opportunity to make money when the insurance money starts flowing. That is for sure, and lots of work to be done. So we'll see. There's nothing you can't say that there isn't an opportunity. Like we have the camper. We're not planning on moving the camper until we sell it. Really, it's been sitting. There'd be a lot of work to get it rolling, and we're pretty comfortable in our spot with what we got going on and in our situation. But man, there's nothing to be said for renting a car, doing some car camping, and busting out a couple of weeks at an extremely high rate of pay. You need some money. You don't have a job. You got some bills you want to pay off. You want to buy a new toy, whatever. You might want to keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. How long after the storm you figure that shit'll roll up? It's a weird phenomenon. It's a lot of volunteer work because the money isn't there until insurance starts paying out. And once insurance starts paying out, it turns into a free for all cash grab from what I've seen. Make people safe, and then rebuilding is where the money's made. So I don't know. It might be worth looking into. I don't know how much money there will be to be made in the North Carolina, Tennessee spot where nobody has flood insurance. Basically, I think that's going to be a majority donation and volunteer basis. I'll take insurance companies' money all day long. Unfortunately, I can't afford to go work volunteer wise any long term. I have to do that from afar. I still have to make money, as we always do, as we all do. So yeah, it's something to look into for sure. We're quarter after, guys. I got to wrap up. I got to get this uploaded. I got a bunch of stuff to do today. I got to work on a lawnmower. Got to mail Chris Dixon's package out since I forgot yesterday. And get out to DG and start doing some stuff. John Palmer says, I wish I could go volunteer with Sean. I wish I could have rode out with Sean I can't get away from responsibilities at this moment. I really, yeah, I could definitely lend a hand in doing what he's doing, but I'm helping in other ways. Take the Ride says those FEMA folks are working hard. I see handing out flyers and directing people to sign up online with no power. Yeah, they're fucking great, aren't they? That might end up into the conspiracy role tomorrow if I dive a little bit into FEMA. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. It is Thursday. All you got to do is make it through today, and you'll be at Friday. We'll be talking conspiracies tomorrow. I'll get a decent list put together, and we can bullshit some more. Hope you have a fantastic day, and you get a bunch done. I hope we hear back from the rest of our folks down in Florida, and hope they're doing all right. Have an awesome day, guys, and we will catch up with you in the morning.
I can see the light.